Welcome to York Region's e-learning module on emergency codes for long-term care. As you go through the module, you will learn about the various emergency codes used in long-term care. These emergency codes notify people about urgent situations that need to be responded to. Each emergency code has its own procedures and responsibilities laid out for staff. Once a code is called, you should be able to respond to it as outlined by your role. The purpose of this training is to familiarize yourself with emergency codes so that you can be better prepared for emergencies if and when they occur. By the end of this module, you will understand what each color emergency code is referring to, have a general idea of what the emergency codes mean in long-term care, and what the effective practices are during each emergency code. The following are the main uses of emergency codes. Emergency codes are used in long-term care facilities to alert staff to an emergency. Residents may be concerned if they hear an announcement of a fire, but less so if the phrase "code red" was used instead. Codes are used to pass emergency information on quickly and easily. The following three statements refer to some of the most valuable benefits of emergency codes. First, they provide a clear message to your audience referring to an emergency situation quickly and easily. Second, being color-coded allows for audiences to easily associate a type of emergency with a specific color. Lastly, emergency codes are a useful way of organizing emergencies so that we can focus on developing expectations for responding to specific codes. The following icons symbolize and summarize the reason for calling each emergency code. Click on the following icons to learn a bit more about the code. Code white is announced when someone needs immediate assistance with someone who is showing aggressive behaviors. If you feel that you are not safe and the situation is escalating to the point where there is a high risk of being harmed, a code white should be called. During a code white, a person-focused approach is used to prevent any harm. We also want to prevent any harm from being done to the aggressive person, which is why we encourage gentle, persuasive approaches to be used. This allows us to treat both parties with respect and as individuals. An example of a code white is a resident hitting a staff member uncontrollably. Calling a code white is a quick way of asking for immediate assistance in a dangerous situation where you feel that your own personal safety is at risk. A code white situation is one that you cannot control on your own and should ask for assistance with. The intent is not to restrain the individual, but to maintain personal safety in less controllable situations. It is important to note that if your personal safety is at risk, leave the room for a safer one, even if it means going into the hallway. Don't get into a position where you cannot leave the room. Once you leave, get staff assistance to help manage the situation. Let us take a look at some common signs of an escalating situation and the typical responses to these signs. People who are pacing, appear restless, clenching fists, or appear tense overall are showing signs of escalating aggression. These signs can be seen as a warning that the situation is escalating, and if they are left unnoticed, a code white may develop. In response to these signs, we practice the behaviors guided by the gentle, persuasive approaches for residents, and at the same time being mindful of our own personal safety. A code yellow is called when there is a resident missing from the home. Long-term care residents are a high-risk population. They have many needs, and if they go missing, they cannot receive the support that long-term care normally provides them. The purpose of a code yellow is to support the safety of all residents. It also provides staff an organized strategy to use for finding the missing person. It is important to promote a sense of openness and flexibility in our residents' lives. But at the same time, by knowing where the residents are located, we can maintain their safety. If residents go missing, they may wander and expose themselves to dangerous situations. Many residents need support for performing activities of daily living, such as eating and using the toilet. If residents go missing, they will not have anyone to provide them with the support or assistance that they need. In response to a code yellow, we have search kits that help us search for the missing person. These search kits contain items allowing communication and an organized searching technique. The objective is to divide and search. Tracking sheets help make sure all the rooms are searched and accounted for. Searching rooms thoroughly includes bathrooms and behind curtains or furniture. Code blue means there is a medical emergency that requires immediate attention. Often code blue is called to address a cardiac or respiratory arrest, or other medical emergencies that need immediate attention. The most significant scenarios are the ones related to people's ABCs. That's airway, breathing, and circulation. The purpose of a code blue is to call for immediate assistance to respond to a medical emergency. It is important that staff immediately notify registered nursing staff if they identify a medical emergency in any individual. When a resident is experiencing a medical emergency, their advance directives must be checked before taking any actions. The advance directives may have specific instructions for staff to follow if the resident is experiencing a medical emergency, such as a cardiac arrest. The instructions would influence what the response to a code blue would be. Code red means there is a fire or smoke found in the building. A code red may be activated if anyone smells or sees smoke or flames in the home. For example, a kitchen fire. The purpose of calling a code red is to notify everyone in the building of a fire. There's a set of procedures that outline how people should respond to code red. Following these procedures ensures action is taken quickly and properly. Code black refers to a bomb threat to the long-term care home. The bomb threat may come from an internal or external source. Code black may also be called if a possible bomb is identified in or near the long-term care home. A code black situation is extremely rare. However, it is necessary to prepare for, because the consequences of the situation can be quite damaging to people's lives and the conditions of the home. The purpose of a code black is to quickly and subtly notify staff of a bomb threat. We do not want to start unnecessary panic. When we show signs of panic and awareness of a bomb, we may be revealing information to the attacker. The attacker who made the bomb threat may be able to remotely detonate. If the bomb threat is called into the home, prolonging the interaction with the bomb threat caller allows us more time to gather information about the scenario. We can use the bomb threat form to describe the scenario and the call that was made. The bomb threat form on the back of the code black checklist assists you in dealing with the bomb threat call. On this form, you have a list of questions to ask, space to describe the background noise, identifying characteristics of the caller, a space to describe the demeanor of the caller, and a space to describe who received the call and whether it was recorded or traced. If any staff find an unidentified suspicious package, they are not to touch it. They may ask other staff for information and then report it to the charge nurse. The charge nurse then ensures no one goes near the package, and they try to find the owner of that package. If the bomb threat is made over the phone, the person who receives the call is to gather as much information as possible using the bomb threat form. The leadership team will then gather and discuss the situation. When emergency personnel arrive, a search will be conducted with the long-term care staff. Code Orange refers to external disasters that have a direct impact on the long-term care home. These can be caused by natural hazards, like tornadoes. During Code Orange, the long-term care home responds with sheltering in place. It is safer for residents and staff to be inside the home than it is to evacuate the home. The purpose of a code orange is to alert people to seek shelter and not exit the building. Staff should bring everyone to a safe location inside the building until the code is over, and it is considered safe to stop the sheltering procedures. Staff and residents should stay away from external glass and exits to the outdoors. Examples of external disasters for sheltering in place include tornadoes and external chemical spills. Code green refers to the need for an evacuation. If this code is announced, then all parties within the long-term care home must be evacuated immediately. Code green can occur after code red is called. For example, if a fire escalates too far from control and the building is no longer safe to house people in due to structural damage. The purpose of a code green is to evacuate all people from the building as soon as possible. This is because the building is unsafe and lives are put at risk by staying there any longer. In summary, emergency codes tell people about unsafe scenarios that require an immediate response. This module reviewed all the emergency codes used in long-term care and their applications.